Hello and welcome everyone. This is Blackadder at Blackadder's Place, and well, right now I have decided that after all the times that I have been recording my games that I am casting just for the YouTube, I might just also stream them live sometime. So let's begin with the match that I have chosen for today, for example, and that's between GafferTheCat and SpOefT, which is from Fall of the Titans tournament yet again. And it's still the first round because there's obviously quite a lot of games still to cast yet, and well, this is going to be an Oranos battle, as you can see, as both players have chosen the same god, and well, this is because GafferTheCat does prefer Atlanteans quite strongly. He's kind of a decent player, 1700 plus or something like that, and SpOefT, well, I kind of guess I don't really need to introduce him all that much, as he is pretty much well-known expert in the community, and even though he might be rusty from time to time, he still can pull off quite decent performances in the games, especially in team games in RTS League. As for his main gods, well, I would kinda say that he can play literally anything, and maybe he prefers somehow ISIS or Egyptians overall, but overall, really, he can play literally anything. So the map that has been chosen by the random generator has been Marsh, so let's see how this Oranos battle will develop. Okay, so let's start. We have a look right now in the point of view of SpOefT, who is going for obviously the economic guild to go for the hunting dogs at the very beginning, as it's obvious on Marsh, and he is having quite recent herd of those deer at the very beginning here, so no problem for him whatsoever, and otherwise he's just using some of the pigs at the very back to go for some nice scouting, and yeah, you can already see that he's having quite a lot of shift clicks in to actually make sure that he discovers as much as he can. Yeah, this one is tasked to the back, this one to the forefront, and what about these other two? This one is going somewhere randomly so far, and this one is also going to the right side. Okay, so all the picks are just going to scout at the back, which is understandable because he wants to make sure that they're not stolen, but looking how he's playing against Oranos as well, it's not really all that much of a threat in that, but anyway, yeah, that can still happen. So one oracle is in the middle here, just scouting around the TC, which is literally in the center of the map. Second oracle is at the bottom, next to the next TC. And the third one is up top, so basically he's covering all the possible routes that his opponent can come through. We already see a second oracle from GafferTheCat, so it's kind of interesting that he's sending all of them basically through the middle. He has already stolen one pick through that, so yeah, good job for GafferTheCat by that account. And otherwise, what do we see here? Some first relic, better villager food carrying capacity. Yeah, well, that's not really going to matter in this matchup, obviously, without any gathering points for either of those. And looking at the TCs, this one at the back is okay. This one is literally at the back for his opponent, GafferTheCat. And I'm kind of thinking that this is slightly more to the side here, and literally this one, which is, I would maybe say that it's third from GafferTheCat. Let's have a look at that. Yeah, it's most definitely GafferTheCat's, as the second one on the bottom is SpOefT's. And well, this is kind of interesting because this should result in a pretty big fight around this TC, as it will be quite crucial for overall map control. So let's switch into Gaffer to have a look at what he's doing right now. He has scouted quite a lot of map. It seems like that quite more than SpOefT. Seems like kind of similar, even though it's slightly different because he has used those oracles quite differently than SpOefT. He's just using them basically like scout, like Greeks do. Not really letting them stand on one spot, just the one in the middle, because he's very close to his opponent, so he's aiming to see what he is doing. But otherwise, really, quite a different approach to scouting here. Interesting to see. You don't really see differences all that often, especially in a mirror. Another relic which is better building hit points, that's very nice. I would really say that's very nice for manors, especially if they will be protecting the raiding, the villages from raiding somewhere near Hunt or whatever, and better building crush armor. Yeah, that kind of goes hand in hand, and that's quite useful relic overall. So I kind of guess that at this point we can just switch off the Fog of War and see the whole map, which is another relic right here. Better human soldier pierce armor. That's not bad at all, especially considering that we are in Oranos battle, so that means a lot of Turmas going to be riding all around the map. And we are nearing the point where players should be thinking about the temple, and that's exactly what's happening, especially for GafferTheCat right now, that we are having a quite good line of sight, and it seems like that he's positioning the temple in a very nice way to actually make sure that the gold is protected. And well, SpOefT will see that through this very nicely hidden oracle. That's basically what you want to do with them, because you want to hide them in the woods so that your opponent has the harder time actually discovering them. So, is Gaffer going to advance now? Yes, he's already clicked in. This guy has just scouted a bit too close to his opponent's TC, which is not really ideal. And SpOefT is advancing as well. Yeah, slightly faster, but not really all that much of a difference. So basically, same overall, and you can see that the difference in score is just 3 points, and it's basically just switching with overall how the villagers are gathering or being made. So we can have a look at some economical upgrades. I'm gonna guessing that it's going to be just hunting dogs and pickaxe right now for SpOefT. And how's it looking for Gaffer? Where do we have the economic guild here? And he's going for a hand axe, so that's a difference from SpOefT. SpOefT is going for more gold, whereas Gaffer is going for more wood. And from the other upgrades, obviously, just hunting dogs as well. Something interesting on this map, well, not really. Well, you could say that the bottom part is kind of interesting. There is literally no hunt here, whereas the top has most of it. Yeah, double cranes here for both sides, a lot of picks and whatnot. But yeah, that's not really going to decide the game, because the map is kind of fair when you cross it at the very middle, so not really all that much of a problem for either side. Just this TC is going to be super crucial, yet again going to mention it. Since we are clicking to Gaffer, I'm just going to check right now if he's going for some other upgrades. Yeah, right now for pickaxe. And let's switch it to SpOefT. If he's maybe going for the wood upgrade. No, he isn't. Okay, so that's an altogether different kind of play, because Gaffer is going for as much economy advantage as he can with those two upgrades, whereas SpOefT is just basically omitting this one on the wood, and he's going right now into the barracks, military barracks, together with counter barracks. Now he's looking for Gaffer, who is, yeah, dropping the same, which is usual, and we'll see who will be more successful in their raiding and whatnot. So this oracle is probably not going to survive much longer. He's pretty much dead due to this one Promethean from SpOefT, so that's very nicely played from him indeed. And will he actually give Gaffer the line of sight on this hunt at the very back? No, he didn't. No, he didn't. Even though he does see those, so when they are actually dead, he will be seeing that, but that's about it. And let's see what's happening here, which is the first battle of this game, was first substantial battle, and that's pretty much going to be over, because obviously Valor is going to kill all those little Prometheans, if he can catch them, but the GafferTheCat is waiting here with both oracles that are left for him. That might be another target for Valor, but he should be careful, because right now he's going to basically lose this oracle without doing any damage whatsoever. And well, this is going to give SpOefT a bit of an advantage here, because obviously this one is dead. And do I see some army from blue? Ah, those Prometheans. Okay, so that's a bit of a Mexican standoff here. 3 against 1. Okay, that went kinda expectedly. But, well, you can see that SpOefT is already thinking ahead, and he knows that Raiden might be coming here, and since the manor is being built, yeah, this is pretty much as safe as it can be for SpOefT. So SpOefT should be thinking about going for some offensive, because he's not being attacked at all. That wasn't really an attack with those Prometheans. And what is this relic that you are carrying, boy? Show me. Show me. Staff of Dionysus. That's the 20 villager food carrying capacity. Alright, and here's the first battle. And yeah, both shockwaves are being cast. And it seems like that GafferTheCat doesn't seem really interested in the encounter at this point, even though we are fighting more or less equal. Only difference is the Promethean, and he's almost dead, so I'm not exactly sure if maybe GafferTheCat couldn't have sniped him. He needs to be careful to protect this Turma, because he needs that exactly against the Promethean. On a bit of a micro. Not happening, which really gives a further advantage to SpOefT, because he's not losing units. And yeah, Promethean is still a threat, and unless GafferTheCat can snipe him sometime now, could be at least a bit of a nuisance if he can protect him, SpOefT, but right now he can't. And that's exactly the shot that we were waiting for. And right now this could be switching into GafferTheCat's advantage, because obviously he has right now quite a decent army, as opposed to SpOefT. Even though SpOefT is sending in reinforcements, he has to send them from his base, whereas this battle is taking place near GafferTheCat's base. And yeah, watchtowers are already researched, so basically what he wants to do is just pull back under the protection of the tower and the DC and wait for SpOefT there, because basically that's all he needs at this point, literally. GafferTheCat is also not really thinking about staying in the classical age for too long. He's already building armory, which is kinda curious at this point as he's going for faster heroic. We are at 730, which is kinda fast to advance into the next age, but it seems like that Gaffer is really going for a bit of a weird strat, or a strat that SpOefT wasn't really counting with, and it's going to be decided whether SpOefT can actually overpower him in the classical age here, or if GafferTheCat's idea about advancing to the heroic age faster is going to pay off, because the age advantage could be quite crucial, especially if he can pull off quite a lot of birdies. Infallible birds could be quite the difference makers. Right now, pretty decent defense from GafferTheCat, not really any problem stopping the SpOefT's onslaught, even though SpOefT's army is kinda getting bigger. But you can see that the GafferTheCat is having a lot of ranged units in the Turmas, whereas SpOefT is having much more Murmilos, and seeing how Turmas are actually kinda weak in the attack here might be slightly better for SpOefT, and yeah, that's kinda recognized by Gaffer, who is using his Turmas to go for some raiding, even though not really successfully, because obviously SpOefT is well aware. He saw them raiding, god damn it, raiding off, whatever, raiding off to the top, and right now he's being pursued by the Turmas of SpOefT himself. So SpOefT seems to be more or less safe. Is he maybe advancing himself? No, he isn't at all, and he's not even thinking about it. He's just having quite a lot of relics. Better building hit points, Pillager foot carrying, not really useful at all, as we have said. Buildings crash, build human soldiers, pierce armor, and all those relics could actually make quite a lot of difference in the game itself. Because, yeah, every percentage counts, especially when you are in a mirror. Let's switch into Gaffer and see if he's advancing. Yeah, he's definitely going Thea, and he will be sub 10, which is pretty fast at this point, and it's going to be quite a decent surprise for SpOefT, who is not still picking up on what is happening at this point. Did he see this? Yeah, he did. So he should be really knowing what's happening at this point on the map, but not really paying enough attention, or simply doesn't care. Maybe could be. I was maybe thinking that this building might have been another armory from him, but not really. It's just yet another military building, and he's definitely thinking about losing the game in his classical age. So we see just some Murmilos, not really even human ones, right? Yeah, not really any research whatsoever. That's some economical upgrades. Finally, everything here. With the stuff of Dionysus, obviously. And GafferTheCat is right now advancing, and is giving better economical upgrades. No, not really, just having basically the same as his opponent. And let's see if he's going for some upgrades right now. Probably not, because he right now needs to upgrade his units, and he's switching into Chairo Ballista, or Chairo Ballista, which is, yeah, going to be pretty decent surprise, especially when SpOefT is having so many Murmilos. That's going to be quite brutal. Those Chairo Ballista with the birdie. Oh well. Oh well. Poor SpOefT at this point. Poor SpOefT at this point, as he's getting hammered pretty hard. You can see that all those melee guys are just getting slaughtered altogether. And well, can SpOefT somehow salvage this through proper micro? He might be able to, even though I'm not all that sure. But looking at this battle, it seems like that the sheer numbers are just winning for SpOefT, as he was able to somehow overpower his opponent, even though Chairo Ballista are definitely the correct unit against the onslaught of Murmilos, but it did not work out, as SpOefT did have slightly bigger army, and you can see that GafferTheCat doesn't even have all the houses. He is at just 76 limit out of 95, so he should be careful about that, so that he isn't housed. And at the same time, SpOefT should be careful, as literally, when those Chairo Ballista are too massed, will be having a very hard time defending against that. What's important at this point is that SpOefT is not advancing into heroic, but he is taking second TC, so he will be having an economical advantage, and is maybe GafferTheCat going for the same thing. Not yet. Not yet, it doesn't seem so. They're just going for the back gold, which is just as safe as it can be, even though SpOefT is right there. Let's switch into SpOefT and have a look here. Yeah, yes, pretty nice line of sight. It's very nice place Oracle, and it's giving him an advantage as he can send just some Turmas back there and disrupt the gold gathering. And basically, that's what he's doing, SpOefT. He's right now trying to gold starve his opponent, and quite successfully, because you can see that he's controlling the top of the map and also the hunt. Yeah, you can see that Gaffer doesn't have anything at all for the food department, so he will be probably forced to switch into farms pretty soon, as I don't really think that SpOefT is going to let him hunt here very safely. And it's already seen like SpOefT is thinking about maybe taking 30C or going for the raiding at the very bottom as well. Right now though he's being engaged at the top through some very nice decent army of the Kero Ballista together with the birdie, and that's more than enough to put a stop to this kind of raiding from SpOefT, as he needs to relocate, as yeah, this is definitely not the battle he wants to take. I'm just looking for the armory, which is up, and SpOefT is already advancing into there as well. It's going to be some 3 minutes later than his opponent, which could be crucial. But let's see if that's going to be game changer, because right now he's having a better echo. And even though GafferTheCat is already catching up with the TC as well, trying to make sure that the gold is safe, he will be a tad too late. And you can see that SpOefT is just sending a quite lot of Turmas just in the position here, and he will be disrupting the building of the TC quite substantially. And yeah, blue has to retreat and try to protect that somehow. So that's right now SpOefT at 2 spots at the same time, fighting at the top and at the bottom, which is a very nice micro, and quite good map control, and he's basically denying his opponent, killing one Willy, quite probably second as well, denying the TC also, and killing the Willies at the top, which GafferTheCat is absolutely unaware of, because he's concentrating just to use his army at the very bottom, and the switch into Archive might be nice, but looking how Turmas are basically direct counter to archers. Exactly sure if that's going to end well, but SpOefT is pretty happy losing all the units, just disrupting the TC, which is a pretty good idea, as he needs to keep the advantage through his second TC as long as possible, and it's really mounting up. As you can see, he's leading by 700 points, which is quite a difference, and a lot of Willies have been killed at the very top. 2 Willies dead, it's pretty crucial at this point of the game, and at the bottom, yeah, also 2 Willies dead. So the economy of GafferTheCat is right now being hammered pretty hard. The Oracle has been moved, or rather, yeah, moved to the underworld, why not? And SpOefT has finished 30C, and he's actually trying to take 4th. That's stealing GafferTheCat, and GafferTheCat doesn't have any kind of idea about this. I'm kind of thinking, yeah, he just sees that something is happening here through the Oranos vision, and that's pretty much it. And SpOefT is just trying to make sure that this is really his through his Spirit Tree and the Dryads. The army from GafferTheCat though is kinda getting scary at this point, because the Kero Ballista and together with them the Archive could be quite strong, but I'm just waiting to see a bit more birdies here. But since he is kinda gold starved, he has been gold starved quite successfully by SpOefT, that's been delayed, and yeah, it's going to be delayed quite substantially as well, even though right now he does have save gold. He will be disrupted yet again, because obviously there's still an approach route through the right, and yeah, it basically means that GafferTheCat won't be having any save gold whatsoever, as the top is being monitored by SpOefT as well. In the middle of the map, SpOefT is just working on capturing the TC, also trying to make sure that the palace is in place here, because he will be needing some extra units in there, and he's also switching into some Kontari, which is not a bad idea at all, as they are pretty strong, and especially looking how his opponent GafferTheCat is having quite a lot of ranged units, so he needs something extra fast to get close and wreck them from the melee range. That was basically just a scouting, using those Dryads for a bit of a scouting to make sure that he knows what his opponent is doing. And this is basically just waiting for the storm to happen. SpOefT is at this point having pretty much the decisive upper hand, and is having pretty decent upgrades, even though just on the farms, the irrigation, otherwise hand axe and pickaxe are not really all that cool. Let's see, looking for his opponent Gaffer. He's at least having shaft mine, but just plow, and since he's the one that is having to use the farms here, SpOefT doesn't really have to, even though he does. To just still hunt at the very top, or literally anywhere on the map, as he's having a very sweet map control. And GafferTheCat is maybe trying to switch into Mythical Age, but I don't think he has enough resources, and he's at the same time being heavily raided. to be really careful about that. And this is right now developing into the game decisive battle, I would say, at this point, because obviously this is a huge amount of ranged units and they are exactly being wrecked by the Kontari here. And I'm not really thinking that GafferTheCat can actually stand the might of those horses here, as they are really disrupting the battle here, and with the minimal range that Gero Ballista have, well, that might be a slight problem for him. Right now he's at least retreating, and he has already lost like literally all of the army, so let's see if he can actually muster something back. And well, he's being kinda killed because the destroyers are exactly the right unit from SpOefT, who is at 4 TCs, because that's, yeah, pretty great against Gero Ballista, together with the Archon. And right now we see that the game is decided and SpOefT is winning, and that was pretty interesting contrast of two different strategies, where GafferTheCat went for faster advance into the heroic, and it didn't pay off, as SpOefT was playing slightly better, I would say, or slightly, he was playing simply better, and he did opt for the classical fight, longer classical fight, and the map control, and it really paid off, as he was able to limit the gold for GafferTheCat at the very top, and also at the very bottom, so pretty good job on that, and this was quite interesting. Oranos mirror. So let's have a look at the post game, where we will probably see SpOefT winning absolutely everything. Yeah, that's what you would expect at this point. And the difference in the release, that's quite huge, 27 against 18. That's basically because SpOefT was taking the second DC like 2 minutes earlier, and then also he was raiding GafferTheCat pretty hard, and he lost like 4 or 5 release. I'm thinking we're going to see that in the timeline. Pretty much the same advances. Yeah, kinda expect it in the mirror, even though they both chose slightly different strategy. And let's check the civilian units. Yeah, this is a pretty huge drop from like 18 into like 13, 14. Yeah, that's pretty decent and game decisive right there. Especially when you are going for faster heroic, which means you'll be having slightly worse economy than your opponent. So just checking through some of the tabs here, and you can just see that SpOefT was just kind of running away from his opponent just because of the earlier second TC, and it really made all the difference. GG then.